Congratulations with owning your very own Costail. My name is Ole Christian and I'm part of the engineering team at Cosgear. It is super exciting and pretty crazy to finally see our tail in the hands of actual real cosplayers around the world. And let me first say, on behalf of the entire Cosgear team, thank you for your great support and engagement in the last couple of months. We would never have been here without you. But enough emotional rambling, let's get our hands dirty. In this tutorial, I will take you through the entire assembly of the Costail. I will also give you an introduction to wearing the tail for the first time. We have timestamps below if you want to jump to a specific part of the video. And when you see this symbol, you can pause the video, finish your current step, and continue watching. Now let's get started. We will begin by assembling the tail segments. The tail segments have a few different features. The long slit, the string anchor, the short slit, the wire fastening hole, as well as the hook. So if you take two tail segments, you insert the hook into this flat part, rotate it 90 degrees, and then they're connected and they can rotate freely. So you can continue by assembling 19 tail segments like this. Then we will connect the tail segments to the electronics box. So you do the same thing, 90 degrees in from the side and rotate it around. And now we have a complete tail. We're now going to assemble the steel wire, which is the backbone of the tail. You insert it into the long slit of the first tail segments and then in the short slit of the second, on top of the tail. It might be a bit difficult to hit the long slits, but by a little wiggling around, you should get the hang of it. Like this. This next part might be a bit tricky. We're now going to insert this bent part of the steel wire into the wire fastening hole on the last tail segment of the tail. By doing this, we're going to bend the tail a bit backwards and inserting it into the hole like this. While holding the tail in your right hand with your finger on the wire, we're going to insert the pointy end of the steel wire into the hole in the end of the electronics box. And you can feel that you can adjust the amount the steel wire is put in. When you find an angle of the tail that you like, you can tighten the steel wire. It is recommended to put the electronic box down on the table while you do this. Tighten it, and now you have a complete tail. By loosening the screw, you can adjust the angle of the tail if you want it like this or more straight down. We're going to keep the tail like this for now. The next step is fastening the strings. They are already connected to the electronics box. On your side, and you're going to thread the strings in the same manner as you did with the steel wire, only on the side. So first the short slit, then the long slit, then the short slit, and so forth. You can keep this thread hanging loose for now. Then you turn the tail to its other side and do the same thing on this side. Before you fasten the strings to the tail, we need to make sure that the motor is reset. To do this, we're going to take the power bank with a power cable and insert USB-C into the connector on the back side of the tail. You then need to put the tail flat on the table and turn the tail on by pushing this button. Then we wait for 5 seconds until you hear a small noise. Like so. Then turn the tail off again. The tail is now reset. In some cases, the noise is only barely noticeable, but if you make sure to wait 5 seconds, you should be good. Now we're going to fasten the strings. Hold the tail in your left hand and both strings in your right hand. Pull both strings simultaneously with a firm force downward and fasten the strings furthest away from you in its string anchor. The string is now fastened. Take the other string, pull it tightly and in the upward direction. Then fasten it in this other string anchor. For extra security, you can loop the strings around one more time and tighten them in the string anchors. To make sure the steel wire is fastened properly, you can hold up your tail and push downward on the end like this. It should hold its shape without slipping. You also need to make sure that the strings are tight enough, as this can be a bit tricky to achieve. Try squeezing the two strings right next to the electronics box like you see here. The strings should feel springy and tight. If they are too loose, you should re-tighten them. Next, we're going to prepare what we call the harness or bracket. The harness comes with one belt already fastened. Fasten the other belt in the same way. We are now ready to try on the tail for the first time. We begin by fastening the harness. Place the harness at the middle of your lower back and fasten the belts in the front. For most people, you get the best tail swing if the harness is placed as low as possible in your back, by your tailbone. This, however, might be different from person to person. You can try at different placements, but first time around, I recommend placing it low. Fasten it as tight as possible. If the belts are too loose, the tail will not detect your body's movement. Attach the tail to the harness by sliding the back of the electronics box into the slot. Make sure it feels tight and in the right place. Now, let's get this tail going. Make sure you're standing upright and still. Turn on the tail with the power button on the cable. It will now calibrate the tail based on your position for 5 seconds. Do not move during this process. When you hear a small noise from the motor and the tail resets to the middle, the tail is ready for action. The tail detects when the weight of your hips move from side to side, the salsa motion. Attempt to swing your hips and hear the motor move accordingly. A good test is bending one knee after another and shifting your weight to that side. If you're struggling, visit our YouTube channel for more tutorials. If you stand still for 2 seconds, the tail will automatically go into pause mode. When the tail is in pause mode, the tail moves automatically in a discrete manner. This will continue until you move your hips again.
And that's it, you're now ready to bring your cosplay to life. We can't wait to see what you make of it. Be sure to tag us on Instagram, and if you have any more questions, check out our FAQ page or send us a message. Well done, you hopefully assembled your